Hey guys, Rochelle here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for joining me. So, I am doing a video on the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. You know, I'm doing the Decans, and I apologize for, my voice and stuff. It's because I've got a really bad cold, but I'm just like bored. I'm tired of just laying around doing nothing, right? But so I seen a video yesterday by Antoinette, and she was, doing like a walkthrough of the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, and she was asking, like, because she's going to be doing the Decans. And it got me thinking, because this was the first oracle that I really thought of as far as using with the Decans. And I'm going to explain why this is a really good tool for any of you that are doing the Decans right now. So let's just get started, because I don't want this to be super long. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have to stop it because of coughing or sneezing or having to blow my nose, all that good stuff. So what I did when I first got this, pulled it out, what I did was go through and separate all of the cards into their different planets, or I should say the different zodiac signs. So these right here are all the Decans. I put those in order, like before I started the Decan Walk. So this is the current Decan, Two of Wands, but it's Mars and Aries. And then tomorrow starts the second Decan, which is, I believe, the Sun in Aries. Is that right? Let me see. Yes, the Sun in Aries. And you see, this is the Sun in Aries. I'm sorry about the light. I just know it's going to be too dark if I don't use my overhead. But, so assertion. The first one that we were in through today is impulsiveness. And then the next one is Venus in Aries. And that means lust. And then, so essentially what I did was grab my Decan wheel. Let me grab it here and just show you right quick. I grabbed my Decan wheel, and you start going, here's the first, there's 36 Decans. Here's the first one, second one, third one. And it starts in Aries because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And they associated, the Golden Dawn, Aries with, Western, or I should say the Decans with Western astrology. And it's normally supposed to start on the spring equinox, which is around the 20th, 21st. This year it was the 20th, but I just started mine on the 21st, like what, the book shows and stuff, just to keep it, because I'm not doing it with astrology. So, although understanding astrology can really help you understand how the Decans and all that work, but this deck, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, can really, really help with that. But anyways, so for the Two of Wands, because the first three Decans are in Wands, and they're Aries. Mars is the ruling planet. So we've got Mars, and we've got the Sun, and then we've got Venus. So showing those. So what I did, and even the dates. Maybe I should make it bigger. So 2. So that would be Mars in Aries, Sun in Aries, Venus in Aries. And these are the dates. Okay? So with knowing that, I was able to look through the deck for Mars in Aries, Sun in Aries, and Venus in Aries. And those are my first 3 decans. So I did that around the wheel. And these are all 36 decans. Now there's a lot more cards because the deck is not necessarily just for decans. It's for showing the different planets in the different zodiac signs and what that means. Now, obviously, this is a perspective of the person that created this, because just like tarot, just like astrology, just like anything really, it's a system. And somebody's interpretation can be different than the next person's. But, so if we go to like the first one that we have, which is, and I also want to mention also that for this particular oracle, they only go up to the 7 traditional planets. So the 2 luminaries, which is the sun and the moon, and then Mercury, Venus, Earth, well, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They don't do Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. They only use the traditional planets. So what they've done is go through each one of the 12 signs, and here's a little rundown of the characteristics of that particular sign, which will also help you in your decan study. All this all in one oracle. It's fabulous. So then we go to the sun. It's like a journey through the different planets. So the sun in Aries, sun in Taurus, the sun in Gemini, the sun in Cancer. It essentially is going through all of the planets in each of the signs. So then we go through and go to the next planet. There would be 12, or luminary, which is the moon. And then the cards are like the moon in Aries, moon in Taurus, moon in Gemini, and it just goes around the zodiacal wheel. So this is how you are able to find that particular decan, is looking at, like, if you know that we're working on Aries, or what planet is in that given zodiacal sign, then you go and find it in the book. So just to give you a little bit more understanding. So this says impulsiveness. We're looking at Mars in Aries. So let's find the planet Mars. Okay, so it'll be next because Venus comes first. Okay. And that's our first one, Mars in Aries. And it just says, this pretty much sums up this person's idea of what Mars in Aries means, which is what the decan is for the 2 of Wands, which is the decan that we are finishing up today. Now, hopefully I can get through this without coughing really bad. Mars in Aries. Mars is action. Aries is self-will. Impulsiveness. A wild figure on horseback gallops as if in a race. The symbol to the left is one of the greater seals, symbolizing the 6 steps of creation, and is a protector of all things. The horseshoe symbolizes good fortune, resembling the bowl-like crescent of the waxing moon. Personal Mars is the ruling planet for Aries, and so here it sits in its natural fiery element. This planet sign combination describes people who are energetic and impulsive in their every action. They feel a need to get things done, and this leads them to start numerous new projects. Acting before thinking inevitably leads to disasters. But these Martians are resilient, and win always predominates over losses. Or wins always predominate over losses. People described by this card are somewhat competitive and display a need to be seen in a leading position. Basically, they are outgoing and feel more comfortable at the front with group endeavors. These Martians are natural leaders and take on this role within any situation which requires positive action. Mars Aries people take great pride in their abilities and are not happy unless they do more and quicker than anyone else. There is, however, a belligerence in the Mars Aries nature that can go over the top, and these characters may ride roughshod over other people in order to get their own way. Mars and Aries personalities are at their best when they realize through experience that their potential for power works a great deal more effectively when they exert discreet control. When this card is drawn in a reading, it shows that some kind of physical and or competitive action is necessary for the well-being of the person asking the question. The events are a challenge that requires courage, proving oneself by tackling the unknown, acting on impulse in a sudden situation, leading others with enthusiasm into a new venture. So that's more or less what you get for the first Decan card in this particular oracle. And that's how you can use this. Now, you can also use this deck as a wonderful resource when you're working with your own, let's say, birth chart or current transits that are happening, like the moon in a certain sign. So tomorrow, or today, depending on when I get this video out, this is the next Decan that we're going to be talking about, which is the Sun in Aries. And it's for the Three of Wands. And this is, I found the Sun in Aries in the book, and this is what it says. So the Sun is fortune, Aries is self-will, the Knight and Dragon speak for themselves. This card indicates a quality of reckless heroism and a refusal to be deterred, from the battle. This is personal. Sun Aries people have a strong psychological drive to prove themselves through direct action. Not satisfied by just talking ideas through, they are impatient to get on with doing something about them. These impulsive qualities sometimes indicate the possibility of errors of judgment. But this personality type even finds getting out of a jam a fulfilling challenge. In fact, Sun and Aries people come into their own when faced with a challenging project. Run-of-the-mill activities do not bring out the best talents of people with this planet-sign combination. And finding themselves in this kind of situation, Sun and Aries people do their utmost to bring about change. These personalities have a strong will and much vitality and self-awareness. This can be helpful if one is forced to take the lead, when such qualities can find expression. But the person described by this card usually makes mistakes in acting immediately. Taking extra time and thought helps. When dealt in a reading, this card shows that the opinions and wishes of others do not easily sway the questioner, and indicates a strong determination to maintain his or her own course in life. The card reveals that the inquirer has a clear vision of what he or she wants and knows how to achieve it. It also indicates the need to work harder and longer than most to achieve success and the respect of the others. The danger when this card appears is one of acting on impulse. So events are sudden acts, times requiring impulsive courage, an unexpected challenging situation, a need for quick action or defense of one's position. So that is something that you can look at, that energy for the Three of Wands, because the Three of Wands is like taking that plan and moving it to the next step. So if we're moving it to the next step, then the energy of this card is sometimes we can be impulsive. So we need to stop, really maybe make a list of pros and cons, or, you know, talk to other parties that could be involved before you just jump in. Just like the first card, because we're still talking about Aries people. From this first decan into the second decan, this one, they're not that far off, because the sun is also, I believe, dignified it's dignified in Aries. So it means it's also at a better strength. You know, it does very well in the sign of Aries. The sun does. So, and we can see that in the wand story. So just like when you're using the Three of Wands, this card just cautions against really just being very mindful, not just going in blazing, which is a very common characteristic of a beautiful Aryan person. I mean, they are the very first sign of the zodiac. They are known for being the entrepreneurs. They're cardinal, so it's that initiatory, you know, that energy that they start stuff. You know, they are the ideas people. They're the ones that are just like, we're doing this, you know, and they're independent. So take that into consideration when you're looking at this next decan. But really, I got a little off base. I just really wanted to show what a wonderful resource this deck can be. And if you want to really focus on each decan individually, this is the perfect deck, because every single decan is in this deck. Every single decan, and then more. These are the ones that are not included in the decans. But these are still valuable, because if you want to look at like your birth chart, and your birth chart is, let's say, when you were born, your Mars was in Aries, or you're an Aries sun. That's what that'll tell you. Your Venus, what planet or what sign was Venus in? So, you know, I was born, you can even look at your like big three. Your big three with that. So meaning your sun, your moon, and your rising. This is my birth chart in true sidereal. So my sun is in my 7th house, and it's literally right on the cusp between Sagittarius. I'm in Sagittarius, but right on the cusp of Capricorn. And my moon is in Virgo. My rising is in Gemini. My Mercury is in, my Mercury is in Sagittarius in my 6th house. My Mars is in my 5th house in Libra. And then my Jupiter's in my 5th house, right on the cusp between Libra and Scorpio. And then my, where is the blue? Oh, yeah. My Neptune is also in my 5th house in Scorpio. And my Venus is also in my 5th house. I have like 4 planets in my 5th house, which is the 5th house of, like based off of Leo, of like fun and self-expression. And I have all these things right there. And then my Saturn is in Aries. And yeah, I think that's about it. I have other things on here too, like some asteroids and my nodes. But yeah, so once you know these particular things, then you can go and find it in the actual book and read about what that means as far as what kind of energy it could mean. And then you want to look at the different houses. And I believe that this even talks about the houses. yeah, the different houses. First house, second house, and on and on and on, all the way through. So it's just a basic, but it's something, it's a start to help you understand a little bit. So if you have this deck and you're doing the Decan Walk, pull it out. It will definitely be, or can be, very beneficial. Keep in mind, like I said, though, that it is this person, the creator, it is their interpretation. So if you want to go further, definitely go further. If you don't want to and you just want to use something like this, go for it. It is a wonderful resource. So I'm so happy that I got this deck. I hadn't used it for the longest time. I didn't know how I was going to use it. But that goes to show you, sometimes when you're drawn to something and you don't know necessarily what you're going to do to it or what you're going to do with it to begin with, but it's something that you were drawn to, if you can afford it. I always say, there are reasons why we are drawn to certain things, and now I'm going to be able to use it all year long while I do this Decan Walk. It's going to be very beneficial. So thank you for spending this time with me, and I am sending you love always.